your body thinks that it's still sunlight.
Entrepreneurship. You cannot build a business without having people around you that not only are part of your team.
About is they purchase this sofa and they take it with them across the city, across Toronto.
Hey guys, welcome to another episode of the Restless Millennial Podcast, the voice of the motivated youth. Today I'm here with Patrick Chohaniak, and we go way back. We went to high school together, and we both went our separate ways. I took journalism school. You went. I didn't even ask you, so I don't even know where you went.
I went to Laurier for business, and I actually just recently finished up.
Nice. And Patrick, right now, he's working at Microsoft, and he got hired there out of an internship. So I thought it'd be fitting to make this episode about internships, and we're gonna teach you guys how to kill it at your internships. Basically, go into your internship with a positive attitude and hopefully get the job out of it. So first of all, I'm going to ask you about that. So kind of how did you get your internship at Microsoft, and just talk a little bit about your experience there.
Yeah, man. So the Laurier co-op program, we call it co-op, but it's basically an internship, is actually like super helpful in terms of just listing out a ton of jobs, just giving you those opportunities. But then as well, I found like even just getting started like in high school, doing like random fun projects, like learning to build websites, learning to use Photoshop, just helps in the marketing world overall. Like if you know the theory side of it, like through school, and then a little bit of practice behind it too, add on a good schooling like co-op program, and like
they kind of like help you with your internships. Same with my school. That's how you kind of got the opportunity. And what was your, like, when you knew you were going to be working at Microsoft, like, what was your, like, initial reaction?
Oh my God. I was actually so stunned, like, that I was more concerned about the location. Like, oh my God, how am I going to drive to Mississauga than I was with the actual job. So, like, I think it was just, I don't know, overwhelming.
So what was the official title for the internship?
So my internship, I was the Xbox Marketing Associate.
Xbox Marketing. And I assume you played Xbox your whole life, so that was kind of like a dream come true.
Yeah, exactly. that basically helped me get the job, right? So it's every childhood's dream job, pretty much. I mean, I love like marketing for Xbox. Just working like with the people there are great. Like, it's a good time.
So what kind of like mentality did you have going into your internship? Like, did you go into it saying like, I want to get a job out of this, or just kind of like make it, the best experience possible?
Yeah.
Because that's what a lot of like, a lot of university, like university students that are nearing graduation and going to their internships, like, I feel like a lot of them go in just thinking that they're going to get a job out of it 100% without actually like, putting in the effort to like meet people and network. So I guess my question is to you is like, what kind of like approach did you take to your internship?
I took the same approach that I do like with most of my jobs, really just trying to do the best I can. But with Microsoft specifically, just because it was such a good opportunity, I figured I had to like set a concrete goal, and I actually made this like very vocal. I literally told my manager, who was like, the best person ever, I told her, I was like, I want to come back here for full time, and then just like vocalizing that goal made it more real.
Was this near the end of it, or at the beginning?
So this was probably 3 months before the end. Okay. So I had an 8-month internship. So the first 4 months I was sort of like getting to learn the culture, learn how to do everything, sort of like becoming a master in my role. And then the next 4 months, that's when I really like started to, get some real work done in terms of more autonomous rather than like stuff I'm given. But I set that goal. I was like, I want to come back here for full time. And then just vocalizing that like allowed it to happen, basically.
So it kind of like you put the idea in their heads already that you wanted to come back, right? So what kind of tasks did you do there at Microsoft? So you were like a marketing manager, right?
So I'm actually on a different team than I was on my internship. So now I'm on the digital team, and I do digital marketing for Xbox and Windows. So I'm actually learning, like a new side of the business with Windows, and transferring, some of my knowledge from Xbox. But my day-to-day right now differs a lot, because I'm like on the channel side, which means that I'm working a lot with the retailers, so Amazon, Best Buy, Costco, Walmart, Staples, all those retailers, and it's more of like managing those relationships, making sure we're selling as much product as possible, like optimizing how we do things with those retailers.
So do you like reach out directly to those companies, and you communicate to like executives well, not executives, just like people, representatives from the company on like a daily basis?
Yeah, sort of.
Yeah.
So we have like the system in place. We have those partnerships in place. It's just like making sure that everything goes smoothly. Anytime we have a new product launch, that's me making sure that the retailers are listing the product. So let's say I just didn't show up to work for like a week. Yeah. And we released a new Xbox, you literally wouldn't be able to buy it online. Yeah. Yes, unless like someone picked up the slack, but that's basically what I do. And then driving support, like using those relationships. So we have account managers and partners at the companies, like the retailers. So then running any kind of like marketing campaign. So a lot on Amazon. 80% of my time is on Amazon. That's really good. Like it's really fun because it's like self-running. Like I do it
it's
just
like
at my computer.
You're independent, right? Like do you manage a team at all?
I don't manage a team, but I work as part of a team.
Right.
So we manage different sides of the business. So I do Xbox and Windows, and then my partner Michelle does Office and Surface.
Nice. And like how were these tasks different from what you did during your internship?
Yeah, great question. My internship was more surrounded on Marcom, which is marketing communication. So this is very like high level in the funnel. So, working on building awareness and consideration. Whereas now I'm really like, driving specific offers. So lower funnel, trying to like get that sale. So I guess you could sort of see it at a different stage and using different mediums of catching that sale. So I'll just like walk you through an example of like what it would be. So a Marcom activity would be something on social media where you're just building awareness of Xbox. So let's say you're walking downtown and you see like we actually did this like a Lamborghini with Forza Horizon 4 that you can play like out of the trunk of it. So that's like sort of like okay, like Xbox, Forza, like you're sort of like getting to know.
Wait, so was that part of like a campaign?
Yeah, it was a campaign. So that's like a very like high level awareness. Like okay, that's basically saying Forza Horizon 4 exists in the consumer's mindset. But then pushing them down like through the funnel, that's done through online offers, retargeting customers who are, let's say, already looking at those pages online. Like if you visit that web page, like the Forza
like Google
page,
retargeting, that kind of thing.
Yeah, exactly. So targeting them with ads and just trying to like getting in the mind of the consumer basically is like something I had to really dive deep into.
And this is stuff that you all did during your internship. So
sort of like, so the first half of the funnel, like the campaigns and stuff, like with the Lamborghini, that's something close to what I would do on my internship. And then in my new role, I would be targeting them with ads and running online
So
campaigns.
The second part of what you're talking about is more like what you're doing now, whereas the first part was more your internship. But still, like as an intern, that's still like a lot of responsibility. Yeah. And that's great because like a lot of people think internships are just getting people coffee. Like, did you ever have to do any of that?
No way, man.
You never got one person coffee?
No way, man. Unless it was out of
Did you take out anyone's dry cleaning or anything?
No, unless it was out of the kindness of my own heart. But like, I think they enabled me. Like, I can't even describe to you how dope my team was. And they trusted me basically from day one to just become a master at what I did. And like I did a lot of like, building graphics and stuff that went onto like our global channels and like,
oh wow.
Yeah, one of mine, the US team didn't have like the resources to build out like an image for a contest. So I built that, and then it was like a retweet to enter or whatever.
Nice,
it
like
had
a little like infographic kind of thing?
Yeah, pretty much. It was like a Call of Duty giveaway and had like 70K retweets after. So I was like, all right, that's
and what you're doing.
Yeah.
So that's just proof of right there that like you kind of knew what you were doing.
I think that's the most fun part too, like seeing the results of it.
Yeah. So like how quickly did you kind of like move up in responsibilities at your internship? Like was there one specific point where you're like, okay, I think like I'm gonna be working here after?
Yeah, that was basically the 4 month
point?
Yeah, the 4 month mark for me marked it like I now felt like I could take that authority without being unjust. Like, I mean, on day one I could have been like, yeah, I can do this.
Right.
But if I didn't know what to do, then but after 4 months I felt like I learned the culture and how I fit in there, and just being comfortable with how I fit in. I actually felt the same thing when I rejoined in my new role too.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. And so if you could do the internship over, would you do anything differently, or would you do it the same way that you did it?
What would I do differently? I would probably try to branch out a little bit more. Like my love for Xbox, allowed me to become a master in that sense. But I mean, I would love to, dabble a little bit more in like Excel analysis, or with different teams, like see what the cloud team is about, like with Azure services or commercial or one of those teams.
Just kind of diversify a little bit more.
Yeah, diversify a little bit more. Don't be afraid to step away from Xbox.
Just get out of your comfort zone kind of thing.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
So the next question is kind of really interesting based on what you said, because it seems like you learned a lot at your internship. And I wanted to bring up a point by Gary Vaynerchuk, because when he talks about, everyone knows Gary, he's this like huge personality. And when he talks about internships, he says that it's not about what you learn, but it's about the people you meet.
Yeah.
Because basically he says you're not going to learn anything at internships. But from what you just said before that, I think that's false, because it seems like you've learned a lot. Would you agree with that? Or like, what's your opinion on Gary V's like kind of point of view when it comes to internships?
Yeah, man, just as you're saying this question, I'm like half agree, half disagree. I would agree, like the people is what got me back to the company afterwards and like was making me enjoy my time right now. But the learnings, I guess like you need the learnings to make the people like you. You know what I mean? Like if you're not learning as you're going, then those people won't like trust you. You need to like build that trust, like you're sort of the expert in your area. Build that trust and then use those relationships to help you get back in. Or I can't speak for everybody, but that's
I think what Gary means, because there are a lot of internships out there that make you do like those remedial things like get coffee and stuff like that. So I think he means if like you're in one of those internships, like make sure like at least you're like meeting people, right? That could give you connections when you get out, right?
Yeah. I feel like it kind of goes hand in hand, right? Like
like you and I were lucky. I did my internship at TSN. It was really hands-on as well, and like I got to like I take on so much responsibility. Well, unfortunately, like I'm not working there, but you got the job at Microsoft, which is great. But there are similar kind of internships where you can actually like take on a lot of responsibility while you're learning, and you meet people while you're learning as well.
Yeah,
right?
I'm sure you met a ton of great people.
I did,
while you're there.
And so, what advice would you have for other students going into their internships? What advice would you give them on how to approach it?
Yeah, I would just say don't half-ass it, man. Like if you're out of work by noon and like you have nothing to do by noon, don't just call it a day there. Like go like hunt for more stuff that you can do,
because people they'll see that, right?
Yeah, like
they'll see those little things.
They see those little things, and it's like you don't even notice it until you're on the other side and someone's like, hey, like how can I help? And you're just like, even a random person on the street, like if you're carrying like heavy boxes and someone's like, hey, can I help? It's just like it makes your day almost, like that one thing. So yeah, I would say don't half-ass it, basically. Just sum it up in the most simple way.
Yeah, and even I remember when I was interning at TSN, the guy who was training me was telling me about another intern who would, because like I was a story editor, so they would assign me like story games to cover, and then we'd do like a write-up after for the live show. And he was telling me there's this one kid who would just fall asleep during games.
Oh my god!
And like they had to fire him because like he was at TSN in the Sports Center newsroom just sleeping on his chair while the game was going on.
Oh my god! I feel like that like it worked for you because you're passionate about sports too, right?
Yeah,
so
like you kind of have to be.
Yeah.
Like, I understand like sometimes we'd have to cover golf, sometimes we'd have to cover like baseball, and like it gets boring over the course of an entire like 6-hour round of golf. And,
right.
like, sometimes baseball games go for like 6 hours too.
Oh shit!
But like the guy wasn't even trying to like disguise his boredom, like just blatantly falling asleep. So yeah, I guess that would be a good example of what not to do at internships.
Yeah, there we go.
Patrick told you what to do, and I'm telling you what not to do. So. Another question I wanted to ask you about Microsoft is that there was some time in between when your internship ended and when you actually started working at Microsoft. Could you just talk a little bit about what you were doing in between there?
Yeah, so in between there, it was actually over a year and a third about. So in that time, I was, for the most part, in school, but I was also...
Oh, you're still finishing up school?
Yeah.
Okay.
So...
Is that the reason why they couldn't hire you right on after?
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay.
Because like even if I got a job offer right when I was done my co-op, like I wanted to make sure that I had my degree just as like a fallback option. Like I worked so hard already to get halfway there, might as well just finish it. So I did mostly school and I did another co-op term in that time before I got rehired on.
And what was your other co-op term? Where was it?
It was at a company called Smile.io. It's a small startup in Waterloo, but they're growing at an incredible pace. And I sort of saw like the difference between the corporate side and the startup side, and I would recommend to anybody, even if you're like I'm a startup guy, like that's what I do, that's what I love, but I'm in the corporate world right now. Like, you don't know which one you're gonna like, and don't just listen to the stereotypes around each one, because I love both, and I thought I would like startup till I die.
Is there one you like more? Like, do you like is there one you like a little bit more?
There's like, it's honestly a give and take. I wouldn't choose one over the other. It's just like two different worlds.
Right.
And you know,
what are
like,
some of the differences?
Some of the differences I would say is like how much of the function you're doing yourself.
Right.
Yeah. So, and how much visibility you have. Mm-hmm. So let's say in the corporate side, you're almost like, you know, you report into this person, who reports into that person, who reports into that person, who reports into that person, and then into the CEO. So then, like, you're almost siloed. You start siloed, and I think you try to branch out.
Yeah.
But in the startup side, you start broad and you try to like focus a little bit, if that makes sense.
Just because like startups, like there's usually less people working at the company, and you have like way more responsibilities because, you know, the company's not as established yet, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So like when you were at like, what was it called, Smile.io, right?
Yeah.
Were there like some nights where you were there all night or that kind of thing?
Yeah, there was definitely late nights. There was, you know, those mornings where you need 2 coffees just to like get your brain going, because it's like intensive brain work.
It's not like a 9 to 5, like a typical 9 to 5 job, right?
Yeah, and the interesting thing was our marketing team was 3 people.
Wow.
Yeah.
And you were like one of them, right?
And I was one of them. So
there's 2 others.
Yeah, actually, sorry, I lied. It was it started off as 5 people, but then it was 4 throughout my whole co-op term. And so it was like 2 co-ops and 2 like full times. So technically it was only like 2, and then you know, these 2 co-ops were like switching out every 4 months.
So it must have been insane.
Yeah.
But how long were you there?
I was there for 4 months.
4 months.
Yeah.
And then that's like right after you finished there, you kind of got back into Microsoft?
After that, I had 1 more semester of school.
Oh, okay.
And then during that semester, actually, one of my old coworkers reached out.
From Microsoft?
From Microsoft, yeah. And she remembered me from a year ago just because of, you know, we worked together, and she was on a different team, right? Mm-hmm. Like, she wasn't my direct manager hiring me back. So that's shows the importance of what Gary Vee was saying with like, you know, getting to know those people. And it was literally just that I was like interested in the work she did and how she like managed her team so well and the projects she ran. Like, I was just interested in that.
That's
stuff.
amazing. So, yeah, it just shows like if you make connections, then you never know who you're going to meet when you're like outside of there.
Yeah, exactly. So during that was the summer that just passed. So that was like my last school term.
Yeah. And
midway through, I started working part-time at Microsoft because they needed someone to replace someone who was going to another company. And it was basically like, if I wanted the role, I would have to take it part-time. So I was doing full-time school and part-time Microsoft. So that was really tough to juggle, but I figured like if I can do that, I can do anything. So.
Right. So how did you get your foot back in the door? Did you just contact the lady you met?
I feel like I got lucky, but but it's probably not luck if we look at all the variables that went into it. But yeah, like one of my coworkers, she just reached out to me on LinkedIn. She's like, "Oh, I have this position opening up," and she gave me like tons of advance notice because she knew that her current employee in that role was moving to a different company. So she's like, I was just like thinking of you, and 2 other co-ops were like, you know, part of the 3 that she reached out to. She's like I was thinking of you guys, and like this would probably be a good fit. So I'd love to like, you know, chat. And then that's how it like sparked.
And that's how like the interview process. Well, did you even have to do an interview process?
I still did an interview process, just because of, you know, the formal like hiring procedures. But when she reached out, I pretty much, you know, had the I don't want to say 99%, but I was like pretty set on getting it. Like I knew I was probably gonna get it.
Do you have any tips for like university students like going to internship interviews? What kind of things did Microsoft ask you? Because it's like a pretty prestigious company, so I assume they would take their interviews like really seriously.
No, I wouldn't say they're that serious, especially because I knew them, right? So like I knew the people interviewing.
Well, like I mean, like originally when you started your internship and they didn't know you yet.
Yeah. So that one was actually like it was a bit different for me because it was a Skype interview.
Oh,
right?
really?
Obviously, Skype is a Microsoft product, and
I don't like Skype and phone interviews. I feel like you don't get like the personal connection on those. Like, it's harder to
it's much harder. It's like almost a challenge. But I mean, if you could be that guy that has the personal connection over Skype, like you're killing it, because like it's hard to build that. Yeah. I mean, I'm pretty sure I was in sweatpants while I was on that, because he could just see
it's like you're wearing a suit on the top.
Yeah,
right?
suit on the top.
Suit on the top. Or just one of those like t-shirts with the suit like design on it.
Yeah,
like the tuxedo design.
Just the big one. No, but like the tip I would give, and honestly, I don't know if you can just generalize this, but I'm like super informal in interviews, and that's just like part of my style. Like,
that's the way I am too. Like I feel like, you know, a lot of people are just like so robotic. It's like to the point where it doesn't even sound believable what they're saying, right?
Yeah, and you have to know the company too. Like, like what I've seen a lot, that Microsoft will hire the people based on their personality rather than their technical skills, because you can always teach the technical skills. So you gotta have the good personality.
But you can't teach a good attitude.
Yeah.
So I think that's huge.
Exactly. Like, and if you do, like, even if you do have a good attitude and you don't let it show in the interview, like, you're kind of taking an L right there.
Yeah, so like I think maybe just like keep your personality during the interview, but you know, maybe I guess like not be like too informal, like going, like baggy shirt and pants. Like,
there's like a certain
swear during your interview and like
there's like a certain line you don't want to cross. Like, you sort of just like match the energy that they're providing you to. Like, if they're like casually swearing, then I'll casually swear too. But if they're very formal, you know, you can tell it's super corporate. Then
would you say you kind of have to like feel out the situation and kind of respond based on that? Yeah,
definitely feel out the situation. Don't go blindly in there with sweatpants and it turns out being an in-person interview.
Yeah. How did you dress when you went to the Microsoft one?
I would like
normal like dress shirt.
When I went back for my interviews, I knew how to dress because I worked there. So like, you know, dress shirt, jeans, like super like.
Is that how they
casual.
dress there? Oh, they don't dress like that.
It's casual dress. Like I go to work generally in like t-shirts and jeans. Like
nice.
It's super.
It's like Mark Zuckerberg kind of like outfits.
Yeah. Like we're not wearing blazers and stuff there because. Unless you're on like a consumer-facing team, like you're in sales or whatever. So
all right. So I'm going to get into a couple more general questions before we wrap up here. So I wanted to ask you a question about what excites you every day, and kind of how have you like taken that into the corporate world, like translated that into the corporate world.
Yeah, it's going to be super weird, but like powerlifting excites me, and then somehow that just transfers into like everything else I do. I guess it's built like this like ingrained like motivation for progress. I even noticed this when I was driving home. I was like, I was driving pretty quick on the highway. I was doing like, let's say like 130 or 140.
Hopefully there's no cops listening to this podcast.
All right, I was doing about like 100.
there we go.
I was doing about 100.
Censored version.
And I was like, I should slow down so I don't get a ticket. But then as I was slowing down, I just felt like, why does this feel so like draining to me? Like I just want to like speed up more. And then I sort of feel that in the gym. I feel that at work too. Anytime something's monotonous, like I'm really vocal about it. Like I hate doing like boring tasks, and I'll definitely like put my foot down, like because I don't think I'm showing my true value if I'm just doing boring stuff.
Yeah, like you want to do stuff that challenges you and that pushes
you.
And you show that in powerlifting, right? Because like when you're lifting, like your goal is to lift heavier and heavier, right?
Yeah, exactly. Like you're always like chasing that like next
goal.
Next goal, yeah. So that's what excites me.
So what is your next goal at Microsoft?
Oh, that's a good question. My next goal right now is actually to become a full-time
CEO. No, take over Bill Gates' job.
So basically how it works right now, my role is sort of headhunted through an agency. So I'm like employed in like in a different way that allows Microsoft, like long story short, to hire more people for less cost. But my goal right now is to become a full-time employee. So although I'm doing full-time hours right now, is like an actual like different classification, and these like they call them FTEs, full-time employee. These are more managerial. They take on more responsibility in that. So
more of like a managerial role?
Yeah, so moving up to,
And how long have you been there now? You've been there for, like, working?
So working since part-time. I started at the beginning of July, and now it's October, so a few months now, and then my 8 months before. Yeah, we're...
Nice.
Are we
Sounds
at
great.
A year or after a year? I don't know. Do the math.
So one last question here, and I started asking this question to all of my guests on the Restless Millennial.
Yeah.
What do you want to be remembered for when you leave this earth?
Oh man, I want to.
I know it's a tough question. There's like a lot of different avenues you can kind of go in with this.
Yeah. What I would say to that is sort of like how my personality is like I'm like admittedly kind of like a jack of all trades.
Yeah.
Like if I meet a friend who's good at soccer, I want to become good at soccer. Or if like I meet a guy who's got like more muscle than me, I want to get bigger. If I meet a guy smarter than me, I want to get smarter. And I sort of like try to like balance all those. So what I would say is like trying to be remembered as like that guy who can do it all. You know, like with my goals in powerlifting and my career goals, like I would say those are like my two pillars right now, like moving up in my career, moving up in powerlifting. So I want to be remembered as that like super jacked like CEO. Yeah.
Actually, haven't you entered some powerlifting competitions?
Yeah.
Fun fact.
Yeah. Fun fact. I'm competing in December. Hopefully I don't get wrecked, but you know,
Nice.
we're definitely gonna.
Is that your first one?
Yeah, it's my first one.
Where is it?
It's in Barrie.
Okay.
Yeah, in
nice.
December. So, and I'm still like such a novice at
Yeah.
powerlifting, but like it's just something I enjoy right now. Like just
Nice.
being a noob at it and like learning how to do it. And then I have a bunch of supportive friends who are like competitive.
And how many people are
powerlifters.
competing in that?
It's usually about 80. So I
80?
think this one has an 84
Nice.
lifter cap.
What's
So
the prize?
I don't even know. Honestly, I'm not doing it for the
No,
prize.
you're just
yeah.
there for,
I just want to
just
go
for the
lift weights.
experience.
Yeah, I want to like see those guys who are bigger than me and just
Yeah.
get like motivated to lift like
Just tell them, be like,
800
I'm
pounds.
going to be bigger than you someday.
Yeah, I'll be back here deadlifting 1,000 pounds in a
Go
couple
to some
of years.
like 40-year-old, in 20 years, man, you're going to lose that muscle.
Yeah.
So, and I'm going to be your age and more bigger than you. So
Yeah.
lose that ego right now. Well, anyways, thanks so much for being on the show, Patrick. It was
Yeah,
a pleasure.
man. Thanks for having
And
me on.
if people, I don't know if people would contact you for anything, but if they want to see you on social, like connect
Yeah.
with you, how can they get in
Yeah,
contact
for
with
sure.
you?
So yeah, just reach out to me. My name is Patrick Trohanyak.
Roll your R.
Props to you if you can roll the R and say it correctly. But yeah, my Instagram is P Trohanyak, or you can just find me Facebook, LinkedIn. Yeah, whatever's
All right.
cool. Anything goes.
Keep listening to the Restless Millennial, guys, and keep hustling.